Hello and welcome to Book Flipper University. This is the very first week. This is week one, session one, and we're going to be going through how to get set up with an Amazon seller account. Now, if you already have an account, you can actually skip this section completely and jump right to session two, where we get into the supplies and tools that you're going to want to order to get set up properly. If you've never sold on Amazon, if you don't even have a seller account yet, this session is for you. Now, this is a little bit nitty gritty. This is not as fun as getting out into the field and finding books and listing them, and then, of course, selling them. However, this is a necessary evil. It's something you got to do, and it's worth doing properly. So there's a few options along the way. We'll walk you through some of the pros and cons of each of those. We'll show you what we've done in our own business and let you make decisions for yourself. Again, this is week one. This is a 4-week course. The goal is to get you set up, teach you how to source, teach you how to list, and then ultimately get your first few sales, and then repeat the process over and over again as you scale your business. Here's the goals for today. We're going to decide on a business type, whether you want to just run as a sole proprietor or set up some sort of an LLC. We're going to pick an Amazon account type. There's 2 types and nothing to worry about. You can change those at any time as well. And then lastly, if you haven't done it already, we're going to actually submit that application to get our account opened. So business types, you're going to want to talk to somebody who has some letters after their name, whether that's a CPA or a JD or some sort of a lawyer. And if you just want to go the least effort route to get started, you can actually just set up your Amazon account in your own name. You can use your social security number, and you can be up and running that way. Now, you may want to talk to a lawyer and make sure, or a CPA, because if you set up an LLC, there's a few more protections there. It's a little bit easier to run it as a business, and in case something does happen, it does give you a little bit of personal protection as it kind of walls that off from you. There's not a lot of tax benefits to an LLC. It's a flow-through entity, meaning that the profits from the business are going to go right to you and be taxed as ordinary income to you. So there's an LLC is probably the best way to get started. That's certainly what we run. We do have an S corp over top that owns several of the businesses, including our software businesses. However, our Amazon business is set up as an LLC. So again, some states this is very easy to do. Here in Colorado, it costs $50. You can get set up with a simple web form. So you can Google that. And I know other states are a little bit more complex. Again, if you want the most direct path, simply use your name. You can always upgrade and get an LLC later and change over your Amazon account as well. Now, one note, if you do start as an individual on Amazon, so just put it in your name with your social security number, and then later you set up an LLC, I believe, at least as of now, Amazon will put your account on hold while they validate your new credentials. So if you have a big business, let's say you get a couple thousand books listed and then decide, you know what, I should set up an LLC. If you try and do that later, they're gonna put your business on hold for several days, maybe a week or so, while they validate it. It may just take a day. It depends on how quick Amazon is. But if you want to do this properly from the very beginning, it may be worth getting that LLC. Whether you get an LLC or not, whether you set up an S corp or not, it is important to get a separate bank account, something to track your purchases and your receipts completely separately. If you're going to set this up as a business, even if it's just a side hustle, make sure you do it properly. It's going to help. If you sell more than $600 in a calendar year, which is very easy to do, Amazon will be reporting your sales to the IRS. And so the more that you can track what you've spent on the business, your cost of goods, that sort of thing, that's going to help you tremendously. Bottom line, talk to a CPA or an accountant or a lawyer, get someone with expertise, talk to some other sellers that you trust, and make sure you're setting this thing up properly. I know these are some hurdles that get in the way of, hey, I just want to get out there and start sourcing inventory. But if you set these up properly at the very beginning, this will save you a lot of headache as you get down the road. All right, so that's enough of the business types. Again, you can just run it as yourself, or you can set up an LLC depending on how hard that is in your given state. Now, there's 2 different Amazon account types. This decision, again, you can change this later. You can change this at any given time. You can upgrade, downgrade. There are 2 different account types. Amazon's going to try and push you into the professional plan. They want all their sellers there. Obviously, they're going to make a monthly fee whether you sell anything or not. If you follow the links down below or in the video that we'll show you in just a moment, this will actually take you to where you can see both plans and make a decision. So there's two plans for selling on Amazon. The first is an individual plan, and you can have an individual plan whether you're an LLC or a business or not. It has nothing to do with that. It's just what they're calling it. So the individual plan, there's no monthly fees, but you do pay a 99-cent fee in addition to all the other Amazon fees per item sold. You also don't qualify for the buy box. You can't get what's called MWS credentials, or it's the way you hook your Amazon account up to third-party software. So if you want to use a listing software or a scouting software, if you don't have a pro plan, you're not going to be able to connect and use those. So that will really limit what you do. On the other side of the coin is the professional plan. This one costs $39.99 a month. However, Amazon is generous. This is one of the only times we're going to say Amazon is generous. They're going to waive the 99-cent fee per item. So if you sell more than 40 items in a month, this fee pays for itself. So you may be thinking, well, great, once I'm up to the point where I'm selling 40 items, then I should upgrade. And that is a decent way to look at it. However, you're going to be able to get the buy box, and we'll explain this in more detail down the road. But the buy box is very important for getting sales. I've talked to some sellers and tracked their data when they lost the buy box for various reasons, and their sales actually cut by 50% when they didn't have the buy box. So the buy box is important. It's going to help you sell those 40 items a month quicker, and you can connect to third-party software, which is going to make you way more efficient. So if you're on the fence, if you're not sure if this is right for you, an individual plan may be okay. Again, you can upgrade at any time. If you're going to treat this like a business and you're committed to jumping in, sign up for the pro plan. It's going to pay big dividends as you get into it. So Amazon's page as of the middle of 2018 looks something like this. Again, you can select sell as a professional or individual, and then you're going to walk through. Here's the link to get started. If you just go to services.amazon.com, it's actually going to only point you to the professional plan. That's where they want you to be. If you really do need that individual plan for whatever reason, follow the link as shown here, and that will give you the option. The checklist, so what are you going to need as you get started? Amazon has a great onboarding sequence. They're going to help walk you through everything. But if you want to be ready, make sure you have your business info. This is your legal business name if you have an LLC or an S Corp. It's your address, your contact info. Of course, you're going to need an email address. And Amazon is going to want a valid credit card, and they're going to check that as well during the approval process just to make sure that if you owe them money, they can get it. Amazon is good about tracking you down. You'll have to validate a phone number so they know who you are, and then you'll either need a tax ID, which can be your social security number if you're registering as an individual or as your own person, or it could be an EIN or an employer identification number if you've set up an LLC. What to expect? The approval process will take a few days. It depends on how inundated Amazon is at the given time. If you're in the middle of Q4 or toward the end of the year, right when Christmas is getting close, approvals can take a little bit longer because Amazon just gets slammed. Q4 is awesome for nearly every category on Amazon. And then if you do get a professional seller's account, your MWS credentials, which is what you use to connect to other software, that may take a few additional days as well. Again, it just depends on the volume that Amazon has. Make sure you're checking your email regularly throughout this process, and make sure that if Amazon needs any additional information, you provide that and keep this going. All right, so that in a nutshell is what you're going to need to do. So the recap is, again, decide on a business type. If you're in a hurry and just want to get this started as easily as possible, simply jump in and register as an individual. Pick an Amazon account type. Again, we'd recommend a professional selling account. And again, you can be an individual with the professional selling account. It's a little bit confusing, but you can just register with your social security number and then get that application started. Again, it's going to take a few days. That'll give you time to order supplies and start researching and watching the next several videos while you're waiting for that Amazon account approval. So while you're waiting, start watching the second video, jump on in. If you don't have a separate bank account or you do want to file for an LLC, make sure you do that quickly, sooner rather than later. And again, this is the nitty gritty. Once you get through this, it's going to be, we have a lot more fun on the horizon. So thanks for watching the first video. Jump in, get started on your homework, and we'll see you in video number 2.